Calling our meeting to order at 8 a.m. Thank you all for coming to be a part of our pre-commission meeting. Due to scheduling conflict, we're going to read one of our proclamations for Marjorie Bassey, President Rebecca Assembly of Florida, for this day. Whereas the Rebecca Lodges were founded on 20 September 1851, when, after considerable debate, the Sovereign Grant Lodge of the Independent Order of Odd Fellows voted to adopt the Rebecca degree, largely due to the efforts of an odd fellow named Schulich Colfax, U.S. Vice President from 1869 to 1873. And whereas the Beehive, a representation of cooperative industry teaching the advantages of united efforts in all the ministries of the order, and whereas the moon and seven stars represent the never-failing order which pervades the universe of God and of all nature, and suggests to the members the value of system, regularity, and precision in all worthy undertakings. And whereas the dove, a universally recognized emblem of peace, has this significance in the Rebecca degree, through the mission of love and charity, of tolerance and forbearance, Rebeccas are to strive to bring happiness to others and to promote peace on earth and goodwill to men. And whereas the lily, long regarded as the emblem of purity, is a symbol of the purity of character, of thought, of word, and of action, which are aspired to in the hearts and lives of members of the Rebecca Lodge. And whereas Marjorie Bassey of Rebecca chapter number 35 has proven herself to be honorable and worthy as she worked hard to protect her chapter to achieve her goal of being state president of Rebecca Lodge of Florida. And whereas Marjorie Bassey is active in many organizations: Order of Amarant, Order of Eastern Star, Daughters of the Nile, White Shrine, and Methodist Women's Club. Now, therefore, by the virtue and authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Lynn Haven, and on behalf of the city commission, all the citizens of Lynn Haven, I do hereby encourage all citizens to recognize the Rebecca members for their outstanding service, achievement, and dedication over the years in friendship, love, truth, and hereby proclaim December 11th as Marjorie Bassey, President, Rebecca Assembly of Florida Day. And witness whereof, I do hereby sit in my hand and cause the official seal of the city of Lynn Haven to be affixed this 10th day of December 2021.
Silence.
You could say
You don't want that.
No, we don't.
it'd be more uncomfortable.
Is it out? Ben.
He's right here.
Oh.
He's here.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Sorry, she would like you to present it
Okay.
so that she can get a picture of it. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your
Thank you.
service.
Thank you. All right, so on Tuesday, we're gonna have a CRA meeting at 8:30. So gotta be there at 8:30, not 9 o'clock. All right. So CRA at 8:30. City call to order public commentary. We have some things on the consent agenda. Any questions or concerns about the things that are on the consent agenda
On the consent agenda?
for the CRA?
Oh, yeah.
No.
And the new business, the approval of the storefront assistance application program for 801 Florida Avenue. Any questions about that? Any questions for Mr. Jenkins with the CRA stuff for Tuesday's meeting?
Yeah, you said they were going for the full 25,000,
That's correct.
and the two on 4th Street 5,000.
No, they're 2,500 each.
Oh, okay. 5,000 total.
Any more questions for Mr. Jenkins? All right, so we'll see you Tuesday morning, 8:30.
Thank you.
Following that, of course, we'll have our city commission meeting at 9 a.m.
Drop down to our consent agenda. Quite a few things on this one. Of course, some of the things on the consent agenda are really rolling over from the CRA consent agenda. So any questions about the other items on our consent agenda for us?
The only question I had was on the auction of the vehicles. What are those bottom two, the Scotty sprinkler and that Mako fill station? Do you know what that is?
City manager.
I'm just curious what they were.
What the vehicles were?
Yeah.
Oh, do you know what those vehicles are? There are two vehicles.
Two knuckle booms on there, you've got a trailer, and I think we've got one other small pickup truck on there.
Okay.
It should be in the packet too, the list of everything.
Oh, you talking what are the vehicles?
Yeah, there's one that says like 2007 Scotty sprinkler, and then the other one's like a
Oh, okay.
1999 Mako.
Old safety trailer.
Is that what that
This
is?
is trailer.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
I do have a question on that. When we auction those off, where will those funds go?
Usually, usually that money comes back into the general fund because they are public works.
General funds.
Or the streets.
The knuckle booms are sanitation, and the rest of the stuff is general fund, but typically it just goes back to the
Yeah.
general fund.
Yeah. Okay.
Other questions regarding the consent agenda? All right, so we're fine to leave everything on there. All right. Looking at our old business, we have something for Commissioner Aldridge. We have a public hearing number 17, final reading of ordinance number 1121, section 6.06.03 of the Unified Land Development Code for stormwater standards related to flood control facilities. Any questions, discussion regarding this? Okay. All right, number 18 will be the final reading of ordinance number 1122 regarding property rights element. Questions regarding that? Number 19, final reading of ordinance number 1123, the abandonment request for by Kevin Wardenberger, who's the agent for Thelma C. Osborne. Any questions about that? You'd have a question about that.
Okay.
Number 19.
Number 19, Kevin.
So question with that is we give up I guess we're abandoning the rights to that property.
There's an unused right-of-way alley,
Right.
and they've only requested to abandon half of it.
Got it.
So we'll still have
The 15 feet.
half that alley left because, and I think Bobby can confirm, we found there was like a storm drain there, so we didn't want to abandon where the storm drain and outfall was. So we didn't want to abandon the entire alley because we are using it.
Right.
So we're going to abandon half of it. And I think if you look at their building's already encroaching onto it anyway, so it's causing title problems, and it's nothing the city's been using. So it'll help clarify their title,
Okay.
and we'll still maintain our storm facilities in the other part of the alley.
So we don't foresee this being an issue in the future for the city.
No. Like I said, we'll still have the part of the alley that has our stormwater in it. And if you look along that area, what is it, Railroad Avenue? I mean,
Right.
it's been piecemeal abandoned all up and down there over the years. But no, what the city needs, we're going to retain, and the rest will be abandoned.
I think I asked last time if it had the minimum 15 feet to be able to maintain it, and I was told yes. So that's my biggest concern.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions about that one? Number 20, moving on to new business. Discussion and possible approval for the city manager to research the painting of a mural on the public utilities water plant along Highway 77. Although this has Commissioner Aldridge, I'm sure he's talked to the city manager about this. Any feedback from?
Yes. I was just texting with both of them. For some reason, they thought it was at 9 a.m. this morning. Both of them. So yes. he was looking at the utilities on Highway 77 and wanted to look at maybe doing some type of really nice mural there. Greg and I had talked about that, and I did let him know that Greg and I have been looking at ways to make that prettier. You know how you can sometimes do some type of mural there. So that's basically what it was, and he just wanted us to research it and see what it would cost, and then bring it back to this to the.
So no
the
decision to
commission.
make right now?
No, he just wanted to discuss it with you all.
Okay.
Got it. Now, have we looked into possibly where those funds would come from to do the mural? Would that be more of a grant, something we would pay for out of the
We
budget?
would probably have to pay for it out of budget, and we do have some money set aside for, you know, the upkeep of those tanks, but we would definitely have to look at that, and if it's something that the commission will want to do, put that in a budget.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any further questions about that one? Number 21, discussion and possible approval of the resolution to support construction of a sidewalk on Tennessee Avenue in Lynn Haven through an FDOT grant.
Whereabouts on Tennessee?
Looks like it's all the way from 14th Street to
You can come in.
5th Street.
Janky.
On
Yeah.
both sides?
On the west side, between 5th Street and 14th Street. So
That's
it's
390.
about
So just-
0.8 miles, something.
But is it gonna be, are you gonna do it on both sides of the street?
No, just on the west side.
Just on the
of
one
street.
side?
Yes, and then we're connecting the sidewalk. Should we get funding from DOT, we will be connecting the new sidewalk with the existing sidewalks that are in that area. So we have a sidewalk on 5th Street, another one on 9th, on 10th, and on 14th. And all of these sidewalks will be connected to the new.
So is that matching funds or just 100% grant
100%.
money?
Going after, phase 1 will be design, and phase 2 will be the actual construction. And the grant is called the DOT Transportation Alternative Grant.
Any additional questions?
I'm good.
As I was looking through the paperwork, and I might have overlooked it in reading through it. How did we choose this particular location? Because that's what citizens are going to ask. How did we choose this particular location for sidewalks versus another location for sidewalks?
I think there are two main reasons for this particular location. Number one, we do have a walkability plan for the CRA in place. So that tells me where we need some sidewalks, where we have some gaps. But more importantly, this grant application goes through a competitive process. So in order to identify the winning bid, each project will be scored, and there are certain criteria that will be looked at, and each project will get a certain scoring for that. So obviously, you want to select the project that will receive the highest scoring, at least amongst your local projects, so that you can compete with the other projects in the area. DOT has about $2 million available for the entire district, so that's I think a 16-county area here in Northwest Florida. So it's a competitive process. So the scoring of the projects is really important.
And we lack a lot of sidewalks here in the city of Lynn Haven, so anytime there is an opportunity.
I was just curious, why wouldn't you start down by the bay and do Montana first? There's no sidewalks there at all. I mean, instead of just picking, I agree with the mayor.
Yes.
People are gonna say, why'd you pick Tennessee out of all the sidewalks on that side of town?
For
They're gonna say,
example, Tennessee is considered a collector road, and Montana Avenue is considered a local or a residential road. So on the collector road, you have a lot more traffic. Ideally, if you have limited funds available, you want to put the sidewalks there where you have more traffic, versus a street that has almost no traffic.
does this have anything to do with Home Depot? Or Home Depot, yeah, we're gonna go shopping. Fuel depot. Nothing to do with that
Oh.
at all.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And I would imagine this gets a lot of walking traffic because it goes by the school.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
And then, for example, one of the scoring criteria is what's the distance of the nearest school of this sidewalk project? So the closer you are to a school, the more points you will get for this project,
You're talking about for the grant.
for the grant, yes.
So you got to find a good one that makes us competitive, basically what you're saying.
That's correct.
Any other questions on number 21? All right, number 22, discussion and possible approval of the updated grant document approval requirement for future grants with respect to the citizen participation plan. Questions about this one?
I think like we talked about this one before, didn't we? I
we,
thought we had like presentation. This sounds vaguely familiar to me.
we may have talked about it having to be in our grants, and what we found out is that there was one, but obviously either it was lost in a storm or it
Right.
was never passed, and I know what now grants are asking for that. And so we wanted to be able to go on and just codify this with you all so that we could send it in as an official document from the commission.
So, in reading through this, are we just, I guess, officializing the process that we normally go through in some sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we
Yes.
can show like CDBG projects that we have a citizen participation plan or policy
Yes.
in place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
it's
have
just-
workshops and those things to make sure that our citizens know about all the grants.
Yeah, that was just really my question for that one. Any other questions on number 22? Mr. Jenke, another question did come up that I remember now, and that was, hate to go back to some of these here, but with the incentive program application, I think I noticed, I think Ms. Tender had mentioned it, they're like, is it gonna be 5,000 each? Or
The amount to be reimbursed depends on the size of the project. In this case, we have two applications here on the agenda for the meeting on Tuesday, and both projects I think are $2,500 each.
Okay, so that'd be a total of 5,000. Because I saw in the budget, I think it's like $40,000 allocated. Is that the $40,000 that's going to be taken out of $40,000 that's
That is
allocated
correct.
for that?
Yes, that is correct.
And remember, these are 1911 plat, if I'm not mistaken, and then the one that are on your CRA or from CRA area.
Yes, that's correct. So the reason why these two applications are on the city commission agenda is they're in the 1911 plat and not in the CRA. So I have to use a different bucket of money to pay for this.
Got it. So these are coming out of the economic development budget. That's the $40,000. Okay.
And those go to the contractor or the homeowner?
To the property owner.
And so with the 2,500, is that, are you saying it's going to be a maximum of 2,500 where they might only spend 1,500 to 2,000 for reimbursement, or is it just an award for 2,500?
So there are two categories, the $2,500 category and a $5,000 category. And
Right.
the breaking point is I will be looking at the size of the building that is being built on that property. If the heated and cooled area is less than 1,800 square feet, this project would be eligible for $2,500. If it's more than 1,800 square feet, then it would be eligible for $5,000.
Okay.
So that's the dividing line, if you will. And so heated and cooled area means garage is not included, front porch area is not included, back porch. So you can probably add another 600 to 800 square feet to the 1,800 square feet to come up with the total square footage of the building.
Okay. Got it. So let's just say each project is $5,000 fictitiously.
each project is $5,000, and that would give us around 8 projects a year based on the budget that we have. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry, I didn't ask you that earlier.
All good.
It was in my notes to ask, and I forgot. So,
Thank you.
I got one other question, not totally related to this, but we lost the documentation of this in the storm, and I know it sounds easy, and I know it's a daunting task, and we talked about this before, but where are we at as far as like scanning documents and keeping them and all
We
that?
are very much on top of that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah, we have learned
I know
our
it's a
lesson.
lot. I know it's a lot of work.
Yes, Stephanie's department, which is just about all of finance, customer service, everything that we do now, we scan and we put it on a shared folder,
Okay.
and we make folders for it. Yeah,
Good.
that was definitely a learning situation for us, and so everything that we do, we do scan. Yeah.
all right. Agenda item number 23, discussion and possible approval to award the concrete sidewalk, driveway, and curb replacement bid to 2 contractors, Breaking Ground and SH Hayes Enterprises. Any discussion about
Where's that one going?
Well, it's on multiple, but
It's multiple.
is there a listing out there? Of,
Yes. So FEMA sends us a listing, and then there's a listing that Public Work has done that's on the city side. So there are two projects going on. City side where we have to pay for the money ourselves, and I think we put about $60,000 in for the city side, and then we have the FEMA side.
Okay.
So we want to try to knock these out as quickly as possible. If you'll look and walk around the city, you'll see where Public Works has already identified some areas. I think it's the orange spray paint that's on some of those sidewalks there. So we're ready to get started because we know that can be a safety issue.
So do you know if offhand Fifth Street's part of that project?
I don't, Chris, do you?
The Fifth Street sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my question. That was my question too. Make sure that one's in there. All right, awesome.
Is there a reason why we're picking 2? Is it so it can get done faster?
Yes. Because, and here's the other thing too, is that many of these contractors have so much work. We give them a task order, and it may take a little bit longer than we normally. It normally would, but I do know that one of these contractors works pretty fast, so we want to be able to knock out as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is a list somewhere of what sidewalks we're talking about.
There's a FEMA list. I do know that, and
Yeah,
then
and then we have 400 work orders right now, over 400 work orders currently,
Okay.
non-FEMA related sidewalks.
Is there any way we can get that listing?
Yeah.
you sure can.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's work order, and
We have it on the spreadsheet
Yeah,
as well, so I
yeah.
can forward it to the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Get to you.
All right, awesome. Any other question?
No, good.
Number 24, discussion and possible approval for request from Timberline Construction Group to stage mobile homes on Transmitter Road.
this request came through to us about staging some mobile homes. I did get also a letter from the director of church operations, Lynn Haven United Methodist Church, that supports this. I don't know how many, how they will do this. They said that they would not let people come in and actually look at the mobile homes, and it won't be traffic going in and out of them, but they just wanted to stage them that area. And so I wanted Amanda also to talk to you about our codes in terms of what we can and cannot do.
Morning.
Morning.
So when they contacted me, the first thing I did was look at the future land use map to see whether what they wanted to do was an allowable use. Outdoor storage is not allowed in any land use other than research park and industrial. And this property has a land use of the public institutional. So ordinarily, the answer would be a straightforward no. However, because what they're doing is on behalf of Rebuild Florida, which is a program sponsored by the Department of Economic Opportunity, and it's a state governmental concern. Public institutional does allow for certain governmental designations, It allows for government services, including public works yards. You know, our properties are public institutions and we do have outdoor storage, and emergency services. So this is one of those tricky situations where ordinarily the answer would be an out and out no, but it depends on how you all want to look at it, because if you want to look at this as providing emergency services or government services, then it could be allowable. So it's really your call.
What is their purpose? What's the purpose of storing these homes there?
They said that across the area, so it's not just for Lynn Haven, mobile homes which were damaged in the hurricane that people lived in are being replaced by Rebuild Florida, but they need to bring them in and have a staging area
Right.
where they prep them and get them ready, and you know who's going to have which one, and then deliver it to the recipient. But they said that they could be doing that for up to 2 years. One letter
Since
said
that's
12
go on
months.
forever.
Yeah, one
Well-
letter said 6 to 12 months, and another letter said up
And
to
this
2
one said
years.
2 years.
So from what I understand, that they're already designated to where they're going. They're not actually like trying to sell
They're
them.
not selling
They're
them.
not selling.
No,
Right. They're actually, you already know where they're going.
it's
basically.
disaster recovery.
Right. So,
It's going to be in, man.
Man, I got an email at 9 o'clock from the city manager.
I so apologize for that. It did say 9
So-
o'clock.
do you know if the church is making money on that?
I would think so.
I hope so. Okay.
Yeah, and I know that that's been vacant for a long time because the church was destroyed, and I don't think they have the
Right.
funds
They're,
to rebuild.
yeah, that's what I was
So in
hoping for.
effect, if you decided to do it,
The church is still dealing with insurance, though.
Oh,
That's what the church, they're still,
He
Right.
got set up to
I'm
fail.
talking to
man.
some of the church leaders, so they're still dealing with insurance issues.
Right.
That's what they're dealing with out
but I
there
would
right
think
now.
they're making money out of it.
Sit
I'm not
in
sure.
the
I don't know.
I hope they are. I'm not that I won't want them to make money. I do want them to make money. So,
So now, one of my questions is based on this map and seeing how this basically lines up to our property out at the sports complex. Would this have any negative impact on us? I mean, we have ball fields and things right there. So would this have any negative impact on us, or we have some surrounding?
I'm not sure
residential
that it'll
area?
have negative impacts on the ballparks, but I'm sure the people who live there won't be very happy about it. There is residential around it.
Is there a limit to how many they can have, or they can just fill up that entire area?
This is just the request that we've had. It's nothing that we've done before.
is there a representative that
Yeah,
can
we
come to
can
the
call the
meeting?
church.
Not the church, but the
Of the program,
Yes.
Timberline construction group. Is it possible they can come to the? Because I'm sure there's going to be more questions on
I
this.
can send an email and ask if someone will
Yeah.
come to the commission meeting on, because she has contacted us again. And I told her, because this was such a different situation, it's not something that I could just make a decision on and say, yes, because it's going to impact
Right.
so many residents. And so I will contact her and ask if they can come.
Because the other thing is, we don't obviously want them to move a mobile home and traffic's really busy and things like that. And I'm sure it's going to spark some more questions. Not that I'm against it, but
Yeah.
you know, I think the good part is that it helped the church. I hope we can make it work so that it can help the church out.
Well, it helps people.
Right.
I talked to the
That too.
pastor of the churches,
Oh, did
the
you?
ultimate mission is that they're gonna give these homes, find homes for people that need them, and they're gonna move them out.
Right.
So it's
Okay.
I'd like to hear more about it too.
Sure.
I would.
I'll try to get them.
Are we replacing homes? Are we giving them new homes? And where are they going to put them? That kind of thing. I mean, not every place you can put in a mobile home,
That's true.
but it's not just for Lynn Haven. It's for Bay
It's
County.
for
Right.
Bay County.
But I think it's where they already had mobile homes, not like somewhere it had a house and they're
Well,
going
I'd like to know that. Is it somewhere
The
where
way-
they already
she
have?
told me,
It's-
but
it's
I don't know the
storage.
program. So
The way I read that letter,
storing the motor homes,
Yeah.
or the mobile homes until they could place.
Place them.
right?
It's not gonna be a mobile. It's
So the
just a-
church is probably benefiting from a monthly fee.
Right.
They're
Storage.
gonna they're leasing the land for the whole because
And did you hear 2 years too?
I didn't hear any. I
Yeah.
just heard
Up to 2
In,
years.
in their letter, it says from 12 to 24 months is what they were requesting. And this is like their staging area. It's almost like, you know, if we were getting ready for a hurricane, the staging area would be somewhere where they would keep everything until they were ready to give that mobile home to that person who's lost their mobile home. So it's for entire Bay County.
They say when they wanted to start using that? I don't remember if they did. I don't know, that's gonna be a question if they show up. Sorry, I know we're asking.
Well, see, I don't remember seeing it in
Yeah,
the information.
Yeah.
if we got some time, then maybe we can work some stuff out, you know?
And I guess from a visibility perspective, I mean, it doesn't look wouldn't look any different than what we see when we're doing roadways and things with all the concrete and stuff that's being stored in those places. And then transmitter is not the
Right.
main
You mean
thoroughfare.
talking like, on the corner of 390 and 389 area? Yeah.
Yeah.
The only issue is when they gotta move those mobile units. I mean, it's not,
Traffic is gonna.
if they're doing it when everyone's getting out of school, holy cow.
I'd also like to know, is there gonna be a sign up of any type? Is it going to look, you know, a sign will make a big difference? People will start going in there, driving in there, not knowing what it's about and wanting to ask questions.
I feel like you could, you know, if they come, then you can ask all those questions to them.
Yeah.
I think this was just bringing it to discussion to kind of make you aware. And you could always ask, if you decided to let them do it, you could always require that they put some kind of screening around so that, you know, you didn't see what was in there.
Would we be liable for anything if anything were to ever happen?
It's private property.
It's perfect.
All right.
And they didn't tell us how many either, so that's the other
Yeah.
thing.
They're probably just trying to get the ball rolling. Is probably what it is. Cool.
We'll
I guess
contact them.
I guess if we have any with security, would that be something we would ask the church to try to monitor a little bit? From a security perspective, like you might have transients that are looking for somewhere to live.
Oh,
Here are
wow.
50
Yeah, it could
vacant
turn into
mobile
camp.
homes. Because we see it with the storage units and other things, so, but that'll probably be something to talk to the church about.
Yeah, they might be putting a
Or the
chain link
construction.
fence. Usually when those places start, they put up a chain link fence around. I don't know if that would be the
And what I'll
same
do,
thing.
if they cannot make it on Tuesday, I hear your questions and I'm kind of writing those down, and I'll send that person these questions here. So, but I'm pretty sure they want to, because they've been very, very adamant about trying to get this program started. But I'll send those questions, and then if not, if they'll answer those and send those back, that'd be great. But I really would definitely urge them to have a representative.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I always like to help a nonprofit like that. But
Sure.
That'd be awesome if we can.
sure.
Thank you. All right, number 25 will be the first reading of ordinance number 1124, petition for contraction by James Finch. They're on Highway 389. This will be the first reading by title only. Now, let me state that although these are first readings, it doesn't mean that we can't, as a commission, discuss it. It's just because we're not taking action on it, and there's no public comment or discussion from the public because we're not taking action on it. But with any first reading, we can always still discuss.
Right.
We don't have to wait till the second reading to discuss and try to make changes in those type of things or suggestions. So, any questions about?
Oh yeah. So this is my concern is if this gets de-annexed and goes to the county, in the end, we're gonna still end up with, I don't want to say repercussions, but the increased demand on everything. Because I would imagine they're gonna be using Lynn Haven utilities such as water and sewer. It's
Yes.
gonna increase the amount of traffic and all that stuff. And so, and here we are, we're trying to do the right thing to control development. And now, if they go to Bay County, it looks like they're gonna be able to add more units than what I would like to see. And so, what is the legal implications if we say you cannot de-annex? You know, answer that question.
I mean, de-annexation is pretty rare to begin with, but then if we deny their request, I mean,
Is it-
with the league, I mean, they could.
It's not like the right to develop thing where you can't, we can't stop someone from developing as long as they abide by all the rules and regulations by the local.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
state,
they could try to
federal.
come up with something that we're impacting their, their rights to develop their land by not
I disagree.
letting them out of Lynn Haven, so they can
Right.
say, well, hey,
Well,
if we stay in, which again, they requested to be in.
exactly.
And it's all boils down to this: you need 2 access points, right?
Right.
And if you're over 50 units,
For the city of Lynn Haven
Correct.
Uniform Land Development Code.
correct?
But from my understanding, Bay County doesn't say that, so they could have just one entrance, right?
Right.
But, to me, I don't know, you guys tell me what you think, but reading, from what I read so far, I mean, the developer should have done their research, and they should have known this. They have lawyers that look at this stuff, and you know what? If they made a mistake, it's on them. That's the way I look at it.
Now, because I know there's been some discussion on this back and forth between city manager, legal, and their legal. Is it a difference of interpretation? Is that what we're sort of boiling down to, where their legal is seeing it, reading it one way?
A little bit. I mean, it's more of they say there's an ambiguity there. Our code says if it's more than 50 units, you need more than one entrance. It doesn't say you need 2, 3, 4. It doesn't say right, multifamily, right? So they're saying because doesn't tell you how many you need. Well, our interpretation is more than one. It's more than one. So, and we've looked and researched, and we've been consistently applying that rule as far back as we can see.
They developed
And-
a property previously.
Right, and the
we
conversation-
had to go to the county and discuss it, if you recall, because they were supposed to have 2 entrances and they only wanted to have one. And the county said they couldn't allow the 2, but then we went and discussed it, and then the county did allow them to have 2. So they already knew, same developer.
If they switch back to the county, would the county, obviously that's county road there, and we don't have any luck getting any entrances or lights or anything down in that area. If they put that whole project back to the county, do you think the county, and I'm just asking for your professional opinion, do you think the county would consider putting in some lights down there to help with the traffic?
Whether they develop in the city or in the county, the traffic is going to go out onto the county road.
Right.
So they'll have to coordinate with the county as to what the county requires.
I think they were already going to require like a deceleration lane. And, I mean, the county was already because they've got to permit that through the county anyway because it's a county road. But they were already going to have some decel lanes and stuff required, whether it's city or county because it's a county road.
Saw that the planning commission had a 5-2 vote.
Yes, sir.
What were the reason for the 2s?
Yeah, that's a good
They
point.
didn't give a reason. If they were to deny it, if they had recommended no, then we have to make sure for the record that we get a reason for them denying it, but it actually passed. So I don't know why those 2 people, they didn't say. It just, when it came to the vote, 2 of them said no.
Do we have a list of who those 2 people were? Is it
Yeah,
in the
the-
minutes?
in the minutes.
No, it's not in the packet though.
It's not in our packet.
Yeah. That one for some reason got missed by accident.
I'd like to know who those 2 people
I
are.
can let you know.
Okay.
Do you want me to adjust the packet so it shows it in the packet? On that minute, in the minutes
In
there?
there on every other
Oh.
thing.
Yeah,
No, that one got missed for some reason.
Okay,
if
yeah.
you could do that.
I
thank
will
you.
do that so that you know.
I was kind of curious about the same thing.
Any other discussion on agenda item number 25?
I think the biggest concern is to make sure if we don't allow them to de-annex, if we can do it legally. And I think we need to do what's best for the city.
Well, I mean, like I said, there's no telling what they would do or come up with. If we deny it, and obviously then they're still in Lynn Haven. They've got to develop by our rules. I'm sure they could come up with some sort of lawsuit saying we've affected the value of their property now because they can't develop it. But that's just speculation. I mean,
Right. Well, what I'm getting at is like I was saying earlier, we're a right to develop state, and if they're abiding by all the rules and regulations, we tell them they can't develop. Obviously, we're doing something illegal. I just want to make sure if we don't allow them to de-annex, that we're doing everything legally.
well, we're doing it legally now by telling them you need 2 entrances.
Right.
And so, what they're saying is, well,
But can we legally say you cannot de-annex? That's the question I have.
it's the commission is the one who has to pass any ordinance. And so,
Right.
if you guys don't pass that ordinance, then they like I said, they could make a claim that we've impacted the value of their property, but that's speculating. I don't know. And we would have to just defend that. But, there's
So
nothing out
end up
there
in
that says,
court, it sounds
somebody
like.
applies for an ordinance that you have to pass it. Obviously, that's not the law. I mean, if you've got reasons to not do it,
Okay.
then, well, like I said, it's too spec. I can't tell you they're not going to sue us over it, but I can say
Well,
I'm not going to tell you you have to vote yes on this.
No, I understand all that. I just want to make sure, like for instance, if there was someone that's developing, I'm trying to think what was the one example we had. I can't remember, but anyways, let's say someone wanted to develop and they're abiding by all the rules and regulations, but yet we said no. You would advise us of something,
Well,
wouldn't you?
that if we said no, you'll get sued and we'll probably lose.
Right.
Right.
But
That-
who would
that's what I'm
advise us
getting
of
at.
that is what he's
Yeah.
saying.
In this case, I don't know what they would come up with.
Right.
There's a lot of lawyers out there. They'll come up with something.
Okay.
Got it. All right, any other questions on that agenda item?
Nope.
All right, we also have first reading of ordinance 1125, small scale future land use map amendment, low density residential to mixed use. Any questions, discussion on that one?
Only question I had was, I'm trying to remember, the one that was behind Poe folks that wanted to do the land use change that was between two houses. Do you remember what that one is?
Yes. They are, as you say, they're behind pro folks. They are currently mixed use, which is what these people are asking
Okay.
for, and they wanted commercial, but it would have been directly across from low density residential.
Right.
But they're already mixed use.
And this one's requested mixed use.
Yeah, and they're actually
Okay.
these are on Ohio Avenue.
Right. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions on 26? All right, then we have quasi-judicial public hearings. We have 4 of those. Agenda item number 27, discussion and possible approval of developmental application for Goodwill expansion on 1610 Ohio Avenue.
I haven't looked at that yet. Where are they going to expand?
I just
There-
The block behind
Yeah, they're adding on to their building.
on the
And
back
then
side.
they're actually using a property that is next to it, a vacant parcel, but not on Ohio, kind of the back parcel.
in
And they're
Florida.
putting parking and a stormwater pond on there. And I would like to point out that the planning commission, well, they recommended unanimous approval, but with the recommendation that the existing landscaping along Highway 77 and the existing building be improved also at the same time. Because they had to submit a landscape plan for the new area, but the planning commission feel that they should do something to tidy up Highway 77 and the existing landscaping.
Gosh, I go by there a million times, but I feel like their building is right out there by the sidewalk. What can they do? I wonder.
Well, it's kind of to the left of it, I think.
I guess, were there any specific recommendations regarding,
What they want them to do.
the improvement from the planning commission?
No, I think they just wanted them to look at it because it's been there for such a long time and probably before our current code, and just bring that up to code also
Okay.
where they can.
Would this fall into possible, is it on the cusp of the CRA where maybe they could
It is in the CRA.
okay, so they could maybe possibly ask for applicate, CRA funds to help with that possibly?
For Goodwill for the landscaping along Highway 77, could they apply for any funds to help that?
We only have funds available for if they wanted to renovate the store frontage. But their expansion is on the backside, really. They're just adding one segment of the building to the existing building.
That's what I'm saying, because the planning commission is asking basically that they spruce up their building that's on 77. And so will they be eligible for the grant to spruce up their building on, like, for store frontage on 77?
I don't think it looks bad, does it?
No, then,
The building, yes. Landscaping, no.
and then they weren't asking for the building, sorry Mayor, it's
Another
probably the
retention
wording. They were actually asking that the landscaping
the
around the
fourth one.
existing building
Yeah.
on
It's
Highway
the fourth
77.
retention pond.
be
Okay,
improved.
on the
so
back
we
side
have,
of
It's the
Ohio.
landscaping.
because I see that existing
Williams,
landscaping along Highway
Circle K.
77
And,
and
yeah, the
Everybody that
landscaping
built
along the
has to have a
strip and the
retention pond.
landscaping around the existing building.
Okay, so
Because the
put,
building comes right out
Is this-
into the street.
Is that where the
okay,
retention
so
pond
just
is?
we need to insert landscaping
Right
barriers.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
looks like.
I'm not saying you have,
it
but
looks
I'm
like-
just saying
yeah,
for
that's a
me
pond,
reading,
that's a pond.
Yes,
it would be
So
in
look
the
where they're
landscaping
expanding here.
existing around the building being
Yeah.
improved. Okay,
If you had a regional pond.
gotcha. 'Cause I was just seeing where they said the building needs to be improved. All right. So no building improvements from the planning commission, just
no,
landscaping.
yes.
Okay. Got it.
And this, okay, I'm sorry.
So I guess they don't need any CRA money then. No building improvements, just landscaping.
Is this the retention pond behind the new parking lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It was just kind of hard to see with this.
Yeah, where the existing building that's being expanded is being expanded onto what is currently already impervious. So they didn't have to adjust the stormwater for that section. They just had to put in the stormwater for the new impervious for the new
Right.
parking.
100-year, 25-year.
It is, well, you haven't passed that 100-year one yet, have you?
No. His final reading.
Which it's for. Bobby, do you recall whether the stormwater pond was designed for the 100-year or the 25-year?
25-year.
25-year.
Can we make it 100-year if we, or is it too late for us to do that?
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
we're
You can't do.
They've already applied
we're
for
in
this.
limbo.
Oh, okay.
We're in limbo.
All right, any other questions? Okay, discussion and possible approval of development order application for Sherwin-Williams, 1220 Ohio Avenue. Questions on that? All right. Discussion and possible approval of development order application for Slotsky's vacant parcel, Highway 77. Questions? Hopefully these hearings go just as fast. Discussion and possible approval of final plat approval, Andrews Plantation Phase 2, Highway 389. Questions on that?
So what is the reason for this? Because I thought this was already approved, but is there a change or?
The preliminary plat, so at the time that the development order was approved, so was the preliminary plat. But then once the infrastructure is in place, they have to apply for a final plat approval, and that gets recorded. And then once that's been recorded, they're able to sell lots until the final plat has been approved and
Yeah, you
recorded.
probably just looked at the preliminary, aren't you?
So is there anything different between the preliminary and the final? Or?
Well, sometimes there is, and sometimes there isn't. There shouldn't be on this one, no. But I will say that there's a possibility it might get pulled from this agenda because they have not yet completed the infrastructure. We haven't had the as-built sent to us, and so they're bringing a bond. There was a meeting a few months ago about a bond, and we haven't received that bond yet. But we got notification yesterday that they're bringing the bond in today. So we would need to have that bond in place, which would cover the improvements were they not to do them. And also, they had not put the finished floor elevations. The engineer hadn't given the information to the surveyor for the finished floor elevations and on the plat, because there was an area that was it was an A zone, but it hadn't been given an elevation. And so they had to wait for FEMA and get a elevation on that, a LOMA, where they pull it out of the A. Well, it gets a elevation number.
Okay.
So they know how high the buildings in that area have to be built to. And we're waiting on that information. We have the information, but it has to go on the plat. And they said that they're going to get it on the plat and get that to us by today or Monday. If either of those things haven't happened, then it will be pulled from that agenda.
Okay. Thank you.
And
This is this residential area, multifamily, has 2 entrances, right?
This is
Single family.
Single family. Okay.
That's different ones.
well,
And this is the one that you went back and met with these folks about the stormwater, right?
yeah,
So there's been changes to the stormwater too. Is that in this?
have they updated Well,
That's on the engineer, that would have been the site plans. This is the plat, which shows,
yeah, the site plans do have the change in the stormwater, so they have updated the stormwater. And from what we see is working. And now, of course, there's going to be more impervious area as they're building, but as of what the changes have been made, that it's working. We haven't received any complaints. Did you receive any complaints, Jamie, after anything?
Oh, I
Okay,
never
Jamie.
received any complaints. No, I didn't get any complaints.
Uh,
No, it seemed like after that meeting we had, it seemed, of course, a lot of the rain had died down after that. There was a lot of extensive rain before that, and I understand that. And after the things that they did, it didn't seem like there was any more problems after that, from what I've seen.
because I would try to ride back there whenever I would see maybe like a heavy rain and just seemed like the
Yeah, it did.
flowed pretty well from that. So, yeah. All right. Now, when you mentioned about pulling this, that this could possibly pull from the agenda,
yes, sir.
when would we know that for sure? This afternoon?
Well, they may not get the final plat. You know how they have to bring us a Mylar? So they're going to have to put that information for the finished floor elevations for each of the lots on the plat, and then they have to print it out on one of those Mylars for you all to sign.
Right.
So we said for the plat, we'd be okay with Monday, but if we haven't got it by end of day Monday, then it's coming off.
Okay,
Would
so
that be
then,
okay with you?
yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure. So on Tuesday, it's possible that it could be pulled, but we'll know Monday afternoon whether or not it's.
Yeah, you'll know by the end of day Monday. If
Okay.
we haven't had that submitted, then it's not on.
Okay. All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Thank you all for coming this morning and providing your input. And
And then
Before,
every,
we did have one, want to talk about
Yes.
sports park real quick.
Yes.
I'm not sure. You get sports park contract with Royal American. There were some delays from FEMA,
Yes.
pretty significant delays. So as you know, I mean, basically what we do, we awarded the contract, have it under contract, and then have FEMA go do their review before we actually do the notice to proceed with work. That took longer than normal for some reason.
No,
and,
it just.
it
that's
just took long.
that's
Well, in any
the way
event, it took, several, 3 or 4 months. And obviously pricing with inflation and everything, prices have gone up. The way these contracts work, we have an architect engineer team that designed it. They did all the bid documents, all that. They would need to approve or recommend approval of any sort of change orders, price increases, anything like that. And so when we're getting ready to do the notice to proceed, the contractor submitted basically a spreadsheet of price increases. It goes to the engineer. Engineer's trying to verify it all and just couldn't do it. Kept asking for more information, not getting the information he wanted. So there's been some back and forth since, beginning of October at least. And so it's to the point now where the contractor's like, look, if we can't get this approved, we'll just terminate the contract. And we said, fine. And now they're kind of backtracking on that a little bit. So we're kind of in a situation where if we want to move this thing forward, either we approve the change order without our engineer's recommendation, which I think puts us at risk of not getting reimbursed from FEMA, or terminate the contract, rebid it, terminate the contract, go to the second bidder, see if they can come close on the prices. Again, it's been March or April since they bid these things, so I know everybody's prices are up.
And we have several options there.
So there's some options, but before we can really do anything officially, we would need to terminate their agreement. And as of yesterday, they're no longer willing to just voluntarily terminate. So it's kind of putting us in a situation where, again, it's not really anybody's fault. I mean, prices have gone up, but
But you got to be able to verify.
we got to
those
be able to
pricing.
verify it. And we've they've gotten their attorney involved now. I talked to him yesterday. I kind of recapped him and everything, sent him an email of the stuff that the engineer wanted verified. So, which the contractors had. And so now the attorney has it. I don't know that we're going to get any more information.
isn't it an increase of like 250,000?
Close to 600,000.
$667,000. That's almost a $700,000.
And and some of that is
increase.
just inflation. I mean, it's fine, it's verifiable, but there's other big ticket vendor items, sod, lighting, things like that, where you can actually, you would think it'd be pretty easy to verify, if the
And those are
if
the ones we really
field
need
lights
to
have gone up or
verify.
haven't gone up, and or the engineer's not getting the information that he's requested.
So are we voting on that Tuesday, whether to?
It's something we need to
We-
talk about. We can add it to the agenda, or we can do it during attorney
Mm-hmm.
comments and bring it up. But
Yeah.
unless something happens today from
No.
their legal team, if it's
We
we're in a situation where we need to do
We
something.
verify with the vendors that their prices went up. I mean, what is that?
Our
within the
engineer
contract?
has at least spot checked a couple of them, and they've said no, our prices have not gone up.
And then
But the contractor, their line item for that vendor has gone up, or is higher than what they're telling us. So
And there's no documentation to even prove that. That's our biggest problem here.
So here's my issue is not with us, but that with the contractor is they know that this stuff needs to be verified if it ever comes to this, right?
Yes.
So I know a while back when we had a CRA meeting, there was a bid for, I think it was a sidewalk or something, and we didn't pick the top bidder because they were on this certain listing. I don't remember what the listing is. So when we get contractors like that, do they get put on a certain listing?
they
so that
can,
we,
and I don't, like I said, I don't want to
well,
say
I
that
mean,
they're doing any of the. You've got a $7 million project, and if they had, let's say, sod 450,000, that's part of their bid. I mean, they might have called 3 different sod farms. Obviously, they want to make some profit off of it,
right.
and so they've put in 450. Well, we could pick up the phone and call our own sod farm and get it for 300. And so it's like, why is it so far off?
Mm-hmm.
But again, on a $7 million project, and what we've done, we've already reduced it before they even let the contract. We pulled
Probably
$900,000 worth of items off of there.
And
And so
were
we could
told-
do that here
yeah,
too.
yeah.
And then, but it gets the contract in a situation. It's like, all right, you've already pulled off 900,000. You're going to pull off another 450 or another 500 and do it yourself. At a certain point, you're
Yeah.
I mean,
And
if
so
the-
they don't want us to do that. They don't want us to take out those large, big ticket items that we can go out and rebid separately ourselves to bring down the cost of that. And, like I've said, I'm looking out for the city and the citizens. Is the citizens' money, and we have to make sure that we are spending their money correctly along with FEMA.
Right.
So you have two components there. And I just feel like if we know that these prices are not where they should be, I have a hard time with that as well. And I'll just be very,
Right.
very honest with you there.
And that's basically what I was getting at. If the prices, no kidding, went up and they verify it,
Sure.
I totally understand
Totally
it.
understand.
But if they don't and they're playing a dangerous game, I don't want to do business with contractors like that. And that's the issue that I have, and that's why I was wondering if there was a listing or something, because I want to do business with contractors that are honest and reliable, that we can count on, and we don't have to constantly check on them.
That's totally,
So
totally.
didn't know this was Sunday.
Well, I do want you to know is that we are checking prices with the second bidder to see where they're gonna come in at. This
Okay.
second bidder does come in under, what those increases were from the first bidder. We will also let you know that on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
but we really can't do anything. Obviously, we certainly can't do anything with the second bidder unless we terminate this first contract.
Right.
And so, like I said, as of around Thanksgiving, we thought it was just going to be a mutual thing. And again, I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't know. We can talk to the engineer. We'll have him. I think he's going to come up with a
Yeah.
summary timeline of kind of what's transpired.
And
I don't know. It rises to the level. I know what you're saying, and I think if we
And I'm not accusing them of
Yeah.
anything, because maybe they can verify everything.
well, but also, like I said, maybe they put some of their profit in that particular line item, and they didn't put profit in any of the other 40 line item. You know what I'm saying? They've with such a big project, they've got to pick their places to do it. And if we kind of cherry pick and say, okay, well, these are the two big ones, let's get those down cheaper. Well, now instead of making 700,000 on this deal, they're making 300,000 on the deal, and
Right.
it's one of those things. It's a business
Yep.
call on their part, but
And what do you think if we reopen the bidding completely?
I think that we do like we did with Ken Griffin. We go in and we split those areas. We came in when we did Ken Griffin. I think we came in about $2 million cheaper. And then that way we could decide what phases, what we want to
you
do with
do a
each.
phase 1A,
Yeah.
B, C, and D as opposed to just phase 1.
And I know the FEMA process is a very complicated process because I've been through it before. But what is the possibility if we rebid this out that FEMA would give us more money because the prices have went up? Is that a possibility?
This is
Yeah,
428, right?
yeah.
This
This
is
is
428
428.
project. We've got a pot of money.
I
And
got it.
that's the other thing.
That's
like,
pretty much a done
that-
deal, right?
That on the one hand, you look at it like, well, if prices have gone up, as long as you can verify it, FEMA's reimbursing us.
Okay.
It's not costing us anything. Well, this is 428 money. We have a fixed pot, so
Right.
it is in our best interest to get it down.
To get it down.
Yeah, I
That's
get it.
exactly
Possible.
right. That's one thing that definitely drives us.
Okay.
And I would think, and what you're saying, well, you and I talked about this, since they're upping certain prices, FEMA won't even have anything to do with it if they don't verify why they're doing that, right?
Right, because when we send in for reimbursement, we've got to be able to
Right.
verify that.
Prove what you're asking for.
Good point.
Mhm. Okay,
So I mean, we can. Again, I mean, my recommendation is we make a decision on this on the
Tuesday.
termination
On
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Like I said, and if we hear from them today, Monday, and we can report
We
that.
just do, all I ask is
Whatever,
we make
but-
sure we have our ducks in a row.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons it has taken us a while, is because we have, we're trying to make sure exactly what you said, we have our ducks in a row. Yeah, we surely don't want to falsely accuse anyone in any form or fashion.
Absolutely.
But we also want to look out for the best interest of the city.
Yeah.
You can put it on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
So what are
I
the
don't
possible?
think it's something that we should discuss in the attorney's report. It needs to be on the agenda.
That's why I wanted to bring it up today.
Okay. So we're making an agenda
Add it to
item.
the
I'll make an agenda.
We're making an agenda item. And I guess with it being an agenda item, what would we actually be?
discussion and possible
Discussing.
termination of agreement with Royal American.
All right, so discussion, possible agreement,
Possible termination of
possible
agreement.
termination of agreement, and then what would our?
Rebid.
Well, I
Next
think
step.
get through this first, and then we would
Potential motion. What was it?
just,
motion to
Miller.
terminate the agreement.
Okay.
And then stop there, and then it'll take some time to figure out if
Okay, so you don't need an immediate. What's
no,
next
no,
step?
because at that point we can look to other bidders if they're still interested, or make a decision. All right, we're going to
Based
break
on
this
that.
up into A, B, C, and D, and
Yeah.
do it like that. But we don't want to commit to that on Tuesday.
So now, do we need to? I guess at this point, do we
It's not
plan
gonna hold
to
up any FEMA
do
reimbursement.
our baseball at Kane Griffin again for the spring? So now we were looking to an extent, looking at maybe trying to have spring ball at the sports complex.
Yeah, it'll probably be at King Griffin. I mean, and it would have been anyway because of the hold up with FEMA. We would have not then make that.
Got you.
Yeah, because it wasn't. It was
Yeah, they didn't.
October
plan-
before
Yeah, they
we were
didn't
to the
plan
point
grass
of
yet.
having them
I
proceed.
think it'll be spring ball.
But then the requested change order came in. for-
and is it worth $700,000 to make sure we have spring ball at
right.
sports park?
It could be. I don't know. It depends. I mean, Tom Glavine was at was it Bill Kramer Chevrolet the other day.
Yeah.
So you get him to come throughout the first pitch.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie.
Yeah, I got something I'm going to bring up, and I know it's probably not going to be popular, and it's not something I want to bring up, but I think it's necessary for us to at least discuss it and see what what you guys think. I know I talked to the city manager about this, and I hate bringing it up because I feel like I'm I'm responsible for this, but stormwater when it comes to vacant lots. I remember you had brought it up one time
Yeah,
about we
That's
had
a big
discussed
hit.
it, and
people were paying zero, and now they got these bills.
right. And so I wish I had looked into it more. And looking back on it, I think I was so concentrated on the residential to make sure we don't break their pocketbook. But what kind of opened my eyes is I saw a situation where an individual had a house, but it was still classified as a vacant lot. And I noticed a Facebook post where they're like, I'm paying $355 when if it was just for the house, it was $139. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And
That's an individual case that we
It's-
right.
Is the
that
house
part.
raised up?
Yeah.
Is that the one, is the house
It's-
raised
I have
up?
no
Just
idea.
Conceptual, I agree, and we had a call last week with the consultants that it's hard to explain that concept. It really is because, and they actually kind of put it in a graph form, and with the rate because it was vacant, they have this 0.29% factor. So theoretically, it's only going to be a third of what you would have right on a real house. But
Right. You would
when the
think it'd be
lots big enough, there's this breaking point where, oh, now you've got these, and it's there's individual cases, but you've got some vacant properties that are going to pay more than an improved property, which the whole point was to protect for this impervious surface, that sort of thing. So it didn't make sense. So they're looking at
Yes, they are.
solutions for that, either, you know, whether you could do a cap
Or step up.
or some sort of a step up or rate. I mean,
And we
Like-
all know they're gonna increase. I mean, they've
Well,
got the
that's up to
option to
us.
increase 5 years.
well, that's up to
That's
I mean,
That's up to us.
that's up to us. That's up to us. But yeah, that's what the consultant's report was, sort of a 5-year. Let's raise rates every year. I mean, that's totally. You guys do not have to do that. Obviously, that's up to you. But
So can we drop vacant lots?
it-
I'm
it's-
not
it's-
saying that, I'm not
yeah.
saying we shouldn't charge anything.
I'm not saying that either. I'm just
But,
asking
but
a
I,
question.
I just, it doesn't make sense to me, that you would pay more for a vacant lot
Wish
than a
you
house
guys
that's
would
got
have
a
listened
house
when I
on
was
it.
saying that.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And it's
I
not.
was-
It's once you hit a certain size of vacant lot is when it crosses that dollar threshold.
Yeah.
And so our thought was either cap it there, and the consultants were concerned because it you know, they've got to justify all their methodologies and stuff like
I
that.
know.
So the other thing is, you know, instead of you just reduce the rate, and then that line, you know, goes
Just
here,
goes here, yeah.
and you've got to have a huge lot before
Everybody
you
was
get-
paying something who
Mhm.
had a house, or you know, or you know, everybody was paying
Utilities.
something,
Yeah.
and then you take people who were paying nothing.
Mhm.
To,
No, I agree.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And that's what I was.
I didn't realize it was as much as it was,
Mhm.
and that's my fault.
Yeah.
I
Like I said,
feel
you
I'm
can
at fault
fix it.
for
You're
that.
just going to get less stormwater revenue.
Right,
We
and
all
that's when we
voted-
gotta
all-
look at,
We all voted on it.
and we did.
But
So-
there are some things that we can do, and
We
we
can
did talk
tweak it.
about, we can tweak this. Is, you know, all is not lost, we can tweak this. Now, I know one of the things you asked, can we do it right now? And it's just,
Already in the tax year already. Right?
yes.
Yeah,
and-
yes, unless there was an actual error, then there's
Well,
nothing we do about now.
what about-
it is what it is. I mean,
And something
we
I
can fix
would
it for next year for sure.
And something I would have never thought about until I look at it now is we're just talking about churches with like the mobile units and stuff like that. Your nonprofits and that. I never thought about that when it comes to stormwater.
But with assessments, I mean,
Yeah,
that's sort of the difference between the assessment and the tax, is that
Right.
the assessment hits
I get
everybody.
that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I know you're big in helping nonprofits. I like to help nonprofits, and I think we should give them a break.
So the only solution, as I'm hearing it, really is just to add more to the residential, because we still need
No,
to.
I'm not saying that.
Well, if you cut down,
What I'm saying is, the bottom line is we still need that revenue.
I get that.
So the revenue is gonna have to come from somewhere. I'm not saying not to decrease vacant. I'm not saying not to take away from the nonprofits. But now we got this big gap. And so where we're gonna get that difference from is gonna have to roll back to the residential to make up the difference for what we still need in the budget. Or we're gonna keep
I get that.
extracting from. So I mean, the money's gonna have to come from somewhere. If we decrease over here, it still means our budget will have to increase over here.
It's like algebra.
So I mean,
I
we
get
still
it.
need to come up with that same balance of having that.
You got to do it on both sides.
But I figure we better have this conversation. If we can't fix it for this fiscal year, I get it. But I figure we better start having this conversation now before we start getting to the mid-year budget and next year budget. And
and the consultants are looking at that, and they're also
They
going to
are.
look at
They
a
are.
mitigation credit program. Like I know we've
Right.
talked about that for some of, and they're going to
Yes.
present something to us
And,
there.
and this is the other thing, and I think that I've learned is whenever we have a study such as like someone like Stantec does, I don't think they should be giving us just one option. I think they should give us a minimum of 3 options. Let us, and they make their recommendation what they think is the best option, and then we choose that best option.
Well, they
I think they did.
They gave us multiple options.
They gave us one option.
No, they gave us.
No, there was
There was 3.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
they did.
I
give
get what
us
you're
other
saying.
options.
Yeah.
There was option A, option B, but the whole how they came up with the formulas and all that, to me, I see that as one option.
I think what.
You see what I'm getting at?
How they sort of rated the option was based on how fast do we want to, how
Generate that revenue
right, generate the
Right.
revenue on the fast.
to offset the.
If you want to do this in 5 years or so many years, how fast do you want to stop taking money from, utilities and just have it coming out of public works?
Mhm.
It's sort of how those options were sort of laid out.
What I was getting at is there's multiple ways to get to get the revenue that we want for stormwater. This is just one way of getting it the way we're doing it. Yeah, there was 2 different options as far as what rates we wanted to use,
Right.
but still one option.
I think ultimately, don't see very many options of how we generate revenue for stormwater. And what I mean by that is
Either on the
residential.
bill or.
I mean, yeah, it's either,
Yeah, I mean,
it's either an
Either
assessment
property
or
tax or utility
I'll
bill.
put on utilities, right?
I mean, now I think some of the options we're using now is we're like some of our impact fees that helps with things like
Right, and that's
stormwater.
other options too.
Utility fees.
That's what I'm getting at.
For new-
is there,
yeah, for new
there
development.
are different ways you can do it. I get there are some limitations to it, but there's still different ways you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, so there are different ways, but I'm saying the options are still what they are.
Somebody's going to pay in.
Yeah, so we just have to decide who's going to
Do
take the
that.
brunt of the payment.
That's a hard fact.
But
So that
I wanted to bring it up
created
now.
this.
I know it's not popular. I just felt it was important to say something.
Yes.
It is important to
Yes.
say something, and I will say this without asking you any questions. I had a meeting with somebody I didn't even know. And I don't know if they got a hold of everybody or not, but I'm just going to say I didn't know this person. They approached me with a folder this thick and a lot of information and proceeded to tell me that they represented a good number of dollar people. Basically, that's what they were saying. I don't know if they were contractors. I don't know who they were. The man that came to me did not tell me who any of these people were. But, I mean, he's talking recall. He's talking all kinds of weird stuff because about this vacant lot thing.
mm-hmm.
And it really does make you open your eyes. I mean, like he said, and I've said this too before, the people that have the vacant lots are helping stormwater. I mean, at least the water is soaking in and everything. It's not like, you know, my business that's covered with all cement, and I'm going to pay dearly. But it was very cloak and dagger. I'll just say that. And I'm going, okay, thanks. Bye. You know, so there's a group of people out there that are,
You need to be talking to him.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's a
I
group
don't
of
get
people
it,
out there that are going to do something.
The lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he brought up too the fact that people are going to give their property to the city rather than pay this fee. You know, and he had his theories on that too, which I just, you know,
Yeah, I
whatever.
don't see people giving us too much property.
They want, they'll.
Yeah, we've got a couple that, but it's total wetlands. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete
Yeah.
wetlands that
Undevelopable.
Yeah.
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 No.
Yeah, and when I've, you know, appreciate you bringing it up, but we
I
have
know.
that time, you know.
I mean,
I
I've definitely
saw
learned-
it in the PowerPoint. I'm like, people go from paying nothing to having to pay something. We're
I
gonna
just
hear-
wish I ran some more numbers on it to kind of do some comparison. And
And again,
I'll-
it's an
I'll blame
annual
myself.
assessment. It's going to come
It's
to a
gonna come
vote
back every
every year.
Yep.
And
And
you
this,
can
I remember when Panama
turn it on or
City
turn it off.
implemented their fire tax assessment. I mean, they got kickback from that.
They did.
I mean, as churches, we kick back on it because we
Yeah.
went from paying nothing to paying
Yeah.
thousands of dollars for,
Yep.
you know, a fire tax assessment. And I've never called 911, you know, about a
Yeah.
fire, but that's sort of how the assessments work, is that they're
Yeah,
trying to make
same.
sure that everybody carries some of the weight.
Same thing in
and not a few
Springfield.
people carry
I
all
think
the weight.
55% of Springfield is
We better-
tax exempt.
We better
Just
figure
because
out
of
how
their
to
threshold.
balance
So
the
with the
scales.
assessments,
yes,
everybody
You
pays
know what I mean?
it. So
And I think part of the thing was we couldn't see every vacant lot to see what the charge would be for every vacant lot. I mean, we saw,
Yeah.
you know, we saw breaks where if it's over this, it's this much. If it's under this, it's this much. But you couldn't see what is each vacant lot going to cost this person.
right.
So I think that's part of it.
It's a
So now
learning
we're getting,
experience.
you know, we're getting a call here about, well, I'm paying this much, or a call here, I'm paying this much. And so that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's part of it as well. So, but we'll look at it.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming. Meeting adjourned.